All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Sparring Sessions, the podcast you know and love. I am joined, my co-host, my hero, Big Will. We got you back. How's it
What's
going?
going on, man? What's going on?
Great to have you back. Cougs and Tristan, they're just not you. They don't bring the charm, the charisma.
Yeah, man,
Um,
they filled in though, man. I appreciate them for that. So
yeah,
I'm here for this one.
yeah. Alrighty. So this episode, there's no UFC this weekend. We got a bunch of regional cards, some mid-level cards, call it PFL, call it BKFC,
Oh
and
yeah.
there's a bunch of news going on. So we kind of wanted to get on here, riff a little bit, a little more informal of an episode. And yeah, we just wanted to be in your ears. So we'll kick things off. I said no UFC this weekend. We're going to be talking Cindy UFC. It's MMA. So I want to kick things off. During UFC 311, they officially released the UFC 312 main card and the top two fights for UFC 313. UFC 312 main card, it's not, I'll get your reaction in a second. I'm gonna say top two fights, wonderful. We have Dricus Du Plessis defending his title in a rematch against Sean Strickland, excuse me, former champion. It's a deserved fight. It's a good fight. Um, and then the co-main, we have Zhang Wei Li defending her women's strawweight title against Tatiana Suarez, and
Yep.
that is the entire card. Uh,
Come
Justin
on, man.
Tafa
You don't have Justin Taffa? Come on, baby. Justin Taffa.
Justin Tafa is the premier fight, the third fight from the top. He's fighting a debuting contender series guy. I mean, top two fights are great, but what's going on here?
What more could you want, man? Justin Taffa might get a sick knockout, you know? I don't know. I think it's hard to um put together these cards early on the year because maybe they focus on starting strong with like the card we had last week with
Yeah,
311, and then maybe like the second or third card gets a little bit overlooked. But I think it evens out, man, because honestly I think us as fans we get spoiled a little bit. Some people complain about the cards and like whatever, man. You know, we might have two crazy fights that we'll never forget. And
yeah,
maybe a fat, slovenly, crazy heavyweight knockout that, um could be knockout of the year. You never know.
yeah,
I try to be, me, I try to be positive with these cards, especially the lower level ones when you have a bunch of debuting guys because you don't know what you're gonna get exactly, and you get both sides of the sword when you get people that are hyped up like Peyton Talbot or the Rinya Nakamura kid.
Renya
You,
Nakamura.
you get both sides of the fence, man. Because they could have gone out and gotten two insane knockouts, but that doesn't happen all the time, and it could happen their next fights. It could happen this card with people that we've never even heard of. So I am just excited whenever I get to sit down in front of my TV for 7 hours and watch 13, 14 fights.
I love it.
Beggars can't be choosers. If I could have 52 cards a year from the UFC with their production, I would do it. No matter if they put a card full of contender series people on, I really wouldn't care.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I mean, you have to put on so many cards a year. It's good quality. It's still the highest level in MMA. I don't know. It just I don't want to say rubs me the wrong way, but Anshul Jubilee and Quillian Salkid being in what right now is the featured bout of the or the final bout of the prelims. I just feel like it could use a little more. That
Um,
being said,
I'm going off. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but Fares
yeah,
Ziam
go
is
ahead.
fighting Mike Davis on that card, right?
Yeah, let me pull up the tapology
That should
here.
be a pretty damn good fight, I think. That's
I'm not
one
seeing
fight
that
that
listed here.
am I. Oh, I'm sorry. That's next week in Saudi Arabia. I think
Oh,
the Adesanya card. Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's not 312.
No, all good. I'll just run down
Yeah.
few more fights here. They only announced the top five fights, so we don't know the exact order, but rounding
And
out
that's weird
the,
because we're what? How many weeks out are we?
I think we're 3 weeks out. Yeah, because we have 2
Yeah,
weeks
that's weird, man.
until, yeah. Taliesin Teixeira versus Justin Tafa is your featured bout. Jimmy Crute, Rodolfo Bellato, Jake Matthews, Francisco Prado. I'm not going to name every fight, but we have Tom Nolan versus Vyacheslav Borshev. That's gonna be a
Ooh, I'm
good
hyped for
fight.
that. Hyped for that.
Our our boy Jack Jenkins
Oh yeah, shout
fighting
out Jack
in fighting
Jenkins.
in Perth or fighting in
I have a little
Sydney.
wager. I have a little wager on that Slava Claus fight with our friend Jeannie.
Oh, Jeannie, we're gonna have to talk about that during the bet segment next week. We might
Hey
maybe we
man,
have a
it's a war that'll never end.
nah. We have Alexander Topuria, the younger brother of Ilya Topuria, or actually older brother, isn't he? Yeah,
Yeah,
Ilya just turned 28.
that's pretty damn cool, man. He hasn't fought the greatest competition, but if you can be
Nope.
half of what his brother is, man. I was an Ilya doubter. I
Mm,
still am. I'm not gonna deny that. Whatever. Maybe I'm a hater. But you know, if he could be half as good as his brother is, because his brother is pretty damn good. I
yeah,
think we have a fun guy on our hands.
yeah. I think you and I had a bet actually on who was it? Was it Bryce Mitchell against Ilya Topuria?
Hey man, we don't have to talk about that.
Alrighty, that's UFC 312. We'll break down the card officially when it comes time. I just wanted to riff a little bit. They announced the card. The other thing on the ticker down here, UFC 313. The other two fights they announced, Alex Pereira is going to be headlining UFC 313, defending his light heavyweight title against Magomed Ankalaev. They've kind of been circling each other for feels like years at this point. That's going to be obviously, number one light heavyweight. But if Alex Pereira beats Magomed Ankalaev, that's the big what if in his career so far, you know?
Yeah.
Co-main, we have Justin Gaethje returning after that brutal knockout he received by the hands of Max Holloway last year against surging Dan Hooker, coming off that crazy, I think it was a big upset against
Yeah,
Mitchell
man.
Shamrock, wasn't it?
I was on the Hooker side on that fight. I'll
Yeah,
toot
were
my
you?
own horn. I was on the Hooker side, and I was on the Hooker. I've been on the Hooker side the last few fights, man. Like, him and Jalen Turner, and then
Mm.
Gamrot. He's rolling. And I have a feeling he's probably gonna put Gaethje down too. I don't know what your that's just first mind gut wrench reaction. I don't know exactly who I'll take or who I'll pick, but first mind, I gotta take the guy that's rolling in his career.
It's a weird one. I feel like both are a little over the hill, but they're still so good that they're at the top for obvious reasons.
Yeah, this this doesn't exactly remind me, but it's just the way they're trending. It reminds me of the matchup that we missed out on last week between Hanato Moicano and Beneil Dariush. On
Yep.
on a different level, in different circumstances, a guy's on his way up and a guy's on his way down.
Yeah.
Um, Gaethje might only might be only after his one loss, but when with Beneil's three. But we've seen Beneil go up and down, and we've seen him get knocked out before, and then we've also seen Gaethje do the same. They've all done it. They've all been up
Yeah.
and down, but one guy's surging up and one guy's surging down, and yeah, man, just that Green Goblin mask is speaking to me about Dan Hooker, and I'm pretty sure he'll probably be the underdog. So
Yeah, I think so. I think it's been a minute since I've looked, but I want to say he was a plus 150, 160,
wow,
something like that. We'll
yeah.
give our official predictions. I still have to watch a lot of tape.
Oh yeah,
I honestly I don't need to watch that much tape, but you give me an excuse to go back and watch any of those guys fight, I'm gonna do it.
yeah.
So that is UFC 312 and 313. Uh, love those fights. Getting into something a little less sure, we'll say. You see the banner. It's the GFL, the Global Fight League. They came out a lot of news this week. Uh, the founder, the CEO, did an interview with MMA Fighting's Mike Heck. I would go watch that. A lot of interesting things. There's a lot of news. The first thing I want to say, um, on Monday or Tuesday, one of the two, I believe, they reported that they signed former UFC fighter Andreas Michailidis. among a few others. And then the managers, we started to hear from the managers of some of these fighters, and who said they weren't actually signed. They had, some hadn't heard of the GFL's offer, some hadn't heard of. They had talks, but it wasn't official. Kind of a weird,
That's
eh,
alarming.
yeah, weird week for the GFL.
Um, I think they're doing the old affliction thing, just trying to bring in assets.
Mm,
Bring in assets, bring in eyes, and bring in wallets. Which, understandably, but that's a shaky foundation to have on your
yeah,
business. You can't promise these guys, $1.5 million a fight, 700K a fight, 1.3 million a fight, uh, and then not have any backing to get that yet.
yeah.
Who knows if we'll even get a GFL fight in this calendar year? Who knows? Because, the certain guy might not come and open up his wallet. And I saw
Yeah.
something before I just got home. They signed Patricky Pitbull, apparently.
Yeah, yeah, one of the Pitbull brothers. I
Yeah, it was
know is Patricky.
yeah,
It's interesting.
it definitely is interesting. I want to see what comes of it. I want to see if lawsuits ever happen, years down the line. Um, I was listening to an Eddie Alvarez interview, and he was just like, "Yo, like, if I'm gonna sign with you, I need you to have skin in the game, and I need an upfront check." And which I get, he's a smart dude. We'll talk about Eddie Alvarez later, but he made a good point. He's like, "Hey, you guys are so short. Cut me a check real quick, and I'll sign on the dotted line."
Hmm.
You know?
I think it's interesting. Patricky Pitbull, I thought it was Patricio, but you are correct. It is Patricky. A little less of like a little less news, a little less, I mean, it's news, but a little less of like a shock.
Yeah,
I think it's a little smoke and mirrors, like you kind of said, bring the news, bring the attention.
yeah. Like,
One of the things.
do you think Vanderlei Silva's gonna freaking fight this year in the GFL? Like, I don't think
No,
that's
that's
gonna
that's one of
happen.
the things the founder Owen Davis, yeah, Owen Davis kind of mentioned during that interview was that Wanderlei isn't fighting. He's going to be, I don't think he gave an exact word, but kind of what you said. He's an asset. Maybe he coaches, maybe he is
See,
just
weird
there
already,
to
man.
ref.
Weird
Yeah,
already.
I don't love it. The other thing, I took some notes during the on the format during the interview, and I don't love some of these tactics that they have. They mentioned the teams, they mentioned a draft, very NFL like they said, which I like. I like. But they control the teams, they control the draft, and they control the trade. I don't know how I feel about that.
Seems
That's
very WWE-esque.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they're gonna control the team that wins, man. Just
Yeah.
I'm all for being different, man, but I think PFL was the closest to being different, and they can be successful with their structure, but make it different, which they obviously are doing. And I think for the last couple years, people have, not to go off on PFL, but they said, "Hey, dude, like you want something that's gonna." I've explained to people how the PFL season works. Every time I've ever had to watch the PFL with somebody that doesn't understand it, explaining the points like I put on a product that is awesome that anybody can sit down on the couch and go, damn, I want to watch this and I understand what's going on. I
Hmm.
don't think it's that hard of a thing to ask.
Yeah.
Now, when you
I
start
don't know.
throwing big teams, like that's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. I like the competition for the UFC. I like more fights to watch, obviously. Some of these prospects they're signing, even some of these bets, I'm still interested in seeing. Would you hate seeing Frank Mir versus Andrei Arlovski? I know they're in their mid to late 40s, but
No, I'd love to watch it, man. I'm all for the freak show side of MMA.
yeah.
Um, Especially since they probably aren't going to have anything like Vada or USADA or, we might
Oh
see
my God.
Arlovsky, big old juiced up Arlovsky again, whatever.
Oh, I
But
can only hope.
it's, we can only hope, you know, uh, I'm waiting for them to sign Rampage Jackson so they can get that fifth fight with Vanderlei.
Ooh. Uh, yeah, he has enough brain damage, okay?
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. So I think. I speak for both of us. We have some a little pessimism, but some hope as well.
Listen, man, I hope they
It's gonna
do
be cool.
well. I hope they do damn well, and I hope it's seamless. But as we know, we've seen this. How many MMA promotions have we seen in the
Oh
last
my God.
decade come up and try to be different and this and that? I think somebody should just buy the name Bellator from PFL and just start it up again. That'd
Not
be
a
a
bad
massive
idea.
thing. But getting the capital and all that's for is
Yeah.
hard. But hopefully GFL becomes what Bellator was as the second or third option because before
Mhm.
PFL got really prominent, Bellator was number two.
Yeah,
Um,
that'd be wonderful.
you
I'd be
know,
a big fan.
I wish the best for him, but I have some thoughts about how MMA should be structured. Um, I don't know if you want to get into it, but
I'll give
um,
you an opportunity later. There's a card coming up this week.
yeah,
We're
no,
gonna have
no,
the
no, no,
opportunity.
no doubt.
We're gonna
No
have the
doubt.
opportunity. So speaking of cards this week, I'm gonna jump into I say the regional minute. It's not a minute. I always go over. I love my regional promotions.
Yeah.
I'll give you a quick rundown of some of the lower level cards this week. We have some MMA, we have some boxing, we have whatever you want to call karate combat, karate combat. Just to start us off, and if you want some of the better fights to watch this week, go back and listen to our Prospect Watch episode with Hughes from MMA Prospects. Breaks down some of the better prospect fights, some people to look out for, potentially going to be in the UFC soon. This is more just an overview, some of the stuff that pops out to me. Um, yeah, BFL, Canadian promotion, a little lower level, but Canadian MMA is having a moment right now. Goes down this
Oh yeah.
Thursday
I've seen them put on
on
some
Fight
great
Pass.
events, like great
Oh yeah,
fights, BFL on Fight Pass. So definitely worth watching if you have nothing else to do.
yeah. They have five title fights. Goes down at 7 p.m. Hughes actually his number one prospect of the week is fighting on BFL. Not going to
Wow.
spoil it. You have to go check it out yourself. But yeah, that's a card. FFC, a Peruvian promotion, also going down Thursday, also 7 p.m. Usually they're on Fight Pass or YouTube, but it hasn't been announced. I'm going to guess YouTube. Um, Hughes was kicking himself. He texted me after the podcast, he told me he forgot to mention that Ignacio Bahamondes, his little brother, is fighting,
Oh wow.
and that's happening on FFC this Thursday.
That's
So
big.
shout
That's
out
big.
Cougs. Thought I'd
He,
mention that for you.
he just had that big
Um,
performance on at the Sphere.
mm,
That's pretty big.
be great to see two Bahamondes in the UFC. Um, Friday morning for you early risers or night shift workers, whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna butcher his name. I'm just gonna say Inoue, Japanese superstar boxers. His
Oh,
boxing.
boxer dude, yeah.
Yep. That's at 5 a.m. ESPN Plus,
What's the betting line?
top
Like
rank,
minus 5,000?
something like that. Two pound for pound, 3 pound for pound boxer in the world, going up against
Jesus
a
Christ.
guy I
He might as well be
couldn't
fighting you or me.
exactly.
And
Nothing else from that card. A lot of people in that region, a lot of boxers. The names in a way you're watching for his performance. Um, One Championship has a card this Friday morning, so it's not their Friday fights. It's a real card. It's 170. They're calling it 7 a.m. They say it's just YouTube, but there's a lot of stars fighting on it. I wouldn't be surprised if they do a pay-per-view too. I'll just run through some of the top fights. Even if you're not really into other MMA sport or other sports besides MMA, Muay Thai, kickboxing, grappling, you might recognize some of these names. Lightweight Muay Thai title fight, Talon Shai versus Superbon, phenomenal fight. I'm not qualified. I know I like Muay Thai. I'm not qualified enough to talk about it. Uh, Featherweight Muay Thai title fight, Superlek versus Nico Carrillo.
well,
Seskin's
speaking
fight.
speaking of
Oh,
one, I'm not going into specifics, man, but our boy Ong's fight's official. That's happening.
oh,
You and me discuss
Ong
that. I,
La.
I ain't gonna discuss or disclose anything, but yeah, Our boy Ong Lan Song, one championship legend, got a fight coming up, and we're pretty excited for him.
Shout out. We love Angla, the sushi king of Tampa.
Sushi King.
We will definitely be discussing his fight as soon as it's official or somebody has announced it. We
Yep.
love Angla on this podcast. A few more names. Flyweight, excuse me, MMA title fight. Fabricio Andrade versus Wang Kwan. Smoking Joe Nadawa's on the card. The grappling legends, Marcelo Garcia and Imanari are fighting. Um,
Wow.
it's a pretty good card. A lot of
That's
names.
dope.
So
That's dope.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see I don't know, pay-per-view, maybe a price on it. It's not that bad. Saturday morning, noonish, whatever you want to call it, that afternoon. We got KSW. I'm gonna try to pronounce this name. Bantamweight title fight: Sebastian Prisbis versus Bruno Azevedo. Not one of KSW's strongest showings, but if you like KSW, if you want to watch some fights Saturday morning, and you aren't gonna watch PFL, which we'll talk about in a sec, it's on. There's fights. Unified MMA Saturday at 5 p.m. Few good fights. We talked about most of the big ones yesterday on Prospect Watch. Go listen to that. I feel like I'm going to say that 10 more times. Um, Karate Combat, 7 p.m. on Saturday. They're on YouTube this time. Some big names. There's some fights on there.
Alex Pereira's sister's on that card, I'm pretty sure.
Eileen
Uh,
Pereira. You
yep,
know who else
yep.
is on that card? The
Who?
GOAT, the greatest 5-second heavyweight fighter of all time.
Who?
Already, yeah. Robelis to Spain.
Oh, okay. Oh, dude. Oh man, like I saw the guy that he's fighting. Oh,
Yep. So that'll be
oh
another
boy.
5-second knockout.
Hey man, they're gonna call me next. They're gonna call me next to fight Real Bellis.
Hey, you pay me 5K, I'll go get some brain damage.
Pay me three.
Brandon Jenkins is fighting.
Oh
Uh,
hell yeah,
Former UFC fighter.
He's been fun in karate combat.
He's been great. Lance Palmer, former PFL champ, is grappling, not doing karate combat, as well as some say the greatest submission grappler of all time in the UFC, Herbert Burns, uh,
Oh wow,
grappling and
on the
karate
karate.
combat.
Oh, that's
Yep,
dope. I like
yep,
those.
love him. Cage Titans, Saturday at 7 p.m. I will personally be there, as well as Evan from MMA Prospects.
Nice.
Uh, Nothing really to talk about here. Don't even know where you can watch it. Just wanted to mention it. Love me some Cage Titans.
Damn, that's dope. We're both gonna be at events on Saturday night.
Oh, save that. No spoilers. You got to save that.
Reporting live, baby.
Horton Live. And last but not least for a prospect watch, LFA's got a phenomenal card. Stacked names up and down it. We talked about it plenty on Prospect Watch, but that's going to be fun. That's at 9 p.m. on Fight
Oh yeah.
Pass. And Will, you alluded to it just now. I want to take a little bit more time and talk about this Bare Knuckle FC card, BKFC Knucklemania 5. Can
You
we?
know.
Is it official? Is it official?
Oh
Are we
yeah.
gonna get a? We're gonna get Big Will sighting.
Tickets are required, baby. Yeah.
It's required.
We got some friends of the show. We got a regional heavyweight MMA expert in Brendan Crawford, a friend of the show.
Ooh,
He is
shout out.
great at picking underdogs for regional MMA. It's incredible how he does it. Um, but he sees the value, man, and he goes for
Sees
it. But
value.
I'm looking forward to us betting on some bare knuckle on Saturday night. It's going to be in Philadelphia at the Wells Fargo Center, and if you don't know, that's the 76ers arena, so it's a gigantic arena, and it's going to be bare knuckle. We're pretty close to the cage. I have a buddy of mine. His name's Pat Brady. He's fighting. He's fighting this weekend at a heavyweight. We got a notable name in Ben Rothwell fighting for the heavyweight
Yep.
bare knuckle championship. Uh, then we got people like Beck Rawlings. Beck Rawlings,
Seth
she's
Rollins. Yep.
always shows up and she's fighting Taylor Starling.
Taylor
That's
Starling.
that's gonna be a crazy fun fight. Um, and I mentioned him earlier. You have Philadelphia's own Eddie Alvarez fighting Jeremy Stevens in the main event. I couldn't think of a funner fight to put in bare knuckle in Philadelphia at the Wells Fargo than a legend from Philadelphia himself, Eddie Alvarez. I think that's going to be a hell of a freaking fight. I look forward to having drinks before, during, and
Mm.
after that event, watching the fights, betting on Pat Brady, betting on Eddie Alvarez, and
Oh
betting
yeah.
on Ben Rothwell.
Hey, Eddie Alvarez, I gotta say, he's great. He's gonna probably win, but he's going against the hardest hitting 145er in the UFC.
Good thing to say at 145.
Jeremy Stevens, he belongs in bare knuckles. Just
Oh
same with
yeah.
Eddie Alvarez, same with Ben Rothwell. But yeah, if you're going, uh, shoot us a DM. Maybe get a picture.
Hey, or
I don't want to
Cage
spoil.
Titans, man. If you're
Or
Cage
Cage
Titans in
Titans.
the in
You
the
can
in
get
the
two for one,
Northeast,
them May prospects.
yeah, man. It's gonna
Hey,
be
that's
a weekend full of fights, and you and I will both be at events Saturday night, and there's nothing like live fights. If you've never been to a live fight, go to anything
you
you
gotta
can.
go.
If you got to go watch Rough and
Important.
Rowdy for $12 and a hot dog, go do it.
That's better than going to some UFC fights. I'll tell you that. Speaking of fights that will not be better than that, UFC PFL has a card this weekend. I don't want to spend too much time.
Oof,
I'm
afterthought.
sure I'm sure we'll have some more answers after the card. But this is PFL Road to Dubai Championships Champion Series Nurmagomedov versus Hughes. This is a shortened title, actually. I had to trim it down. They have like eight more words in it for some reason.
Wasn't this supposed to be
Uh,
like a Bellator event or something like that? And then they
this was
changed the
supposed to
name.
be
They changed the name to
Bellator
Bellator.
Champion Series. Now they're calling it PFL Road to Dubai. It's for the Bellator belt. Usman Nurmagomedov going up against Paul Hughes. We'll talk about the fight in a second, but why is it for the Bellator belt if they're PFL fighters? If Bellator's dead,
Damn weird, man. That company is damn weird.
I don't love it, but I love this fight. Usman Nurmagomedov versus Paul Hughes. You don't need a belt. You don't need well, you need fans. You don't need a stacked undercard, which they don't have. Let me tell you that.
Oh
But
yeah, it's gonna be a damn good fight.
one of the best lightweights in the world going up against Irish superstar. I mean, have we seen this before?
Oh yeah.
Reminds me of a fight in
You know
2018.
the card might be ass, but as they say, or not as they say, but what I believe in, one insane fight can make up for a shitty card.
Mm.
Uh, so hopefully, we get a diamond or two out of that shit pile.
Yeah, Vadim Nevkov versus Tim Johnson in the co-main. Weird
Oof,
fight. Why?
who knows, man?
That's about it. A lot of Russian people, a lot of Middle
Start
Eastern
rhyming,
fighters.
start rhyming.
Not a lot of name
Not
value. That's all I'm going to
at
say.
all. Not at all.
Uh, and that's all we have for today. Like,
You know?
we just wanted to get on here, kind of chat with you guys. It's a less top heavy weekend, but there are fights. There's a lot of fights, and good fights
Yeah,
too.
the quality's not there, but the quantity is, and maybe
Yeah.
we can find some diamonds in the rough, through all the fights. I'm sure we'll see a bunch of highlights here and there. So hopefully it makes up for it.
Yeah. And I don't think we're going to do a recap episode. Not
Uh,
a ton to recap, but we'll be sure to mention how we liked maybe a fight or two, how we both like the cards next week during our. We'll find an episode to slip in there. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. It's been another
Appreciate you
episode of
guys.
Sparring Sessions. The GOAT, Big Will, is back.
Oh yeah.
We need some sex appeal for the channel. We need to boost the views a little bit.
Yeah, bro.
Um,
The view's been
but
going
yeah,
down since I've been out, man.
he's been going down. People don't want to look at Genie, do they? I'm
Man,
just kidding. Love you,
I'm
Genie.
out. I'm
Um,
leaving.
but yeah, we'll see y'all later.
Appreciate you guys. Have a good one.